Kia ora and welcome to another episode from us at The Distant Vale. And today Harry's painting a Beholder from Bite the Bullet Studios. Awesome little miniature from the iconic Monsters set that was released last month, and hopefully you enjoy it.
Welcome back, guys. It's Harry. We're here painting a wonderful little mini from Bite the Bullet Miniatures. This is part of their iconic Monsters collection, and it is a Beholder. Now, I've been on a bit of a Baldur's Gate kick recently with the wife, and it's inspired me a little bit to maybe take a little step back from the Wargames mini painting and step back into a little bit of the D&D realm. So with today's mini, I was looking to paint something a little bit close to the iconic Xanathar, the Criminal Lord. Now this Beholder is normally quite a rich blue, and so in order to get that saturation, I've gone for a little bit of an altered zenithal start. So I've undercoated it a dark green, hit it with the white for that highlight, come back in with a pale blue, covering everything so that the green has that layer of blue on top to give it a nice rich shadow. And I've come back in with a little bit of blue speed paint just to up the saturation a little bit. Next step here is we're going to be painting the mouth and tongue. I've got a royal purple, something just a nice dark purple, just to base coat the inside of the mouth. Now it was mostly left black from that initial airbrushing. But what it's going to mean is that this purple is going to read really quite dark in the shadows with just one coat. So given that I was going to be highlighting it up a little bit, I left it with just sort of a 1.5 coat sort of thickness, so it's still really heavy black in the recesses of the mouth, and that purple's just standing out a little bit more proudly on the raised ridges. Next thing I'm going to do here is start blacking out the eyes. Now I really want these to be quite stark and pop quite a lot from the model, and whilst you can see with the new camera setup, I am going to be missing a lot of the actual painting. I'm wanting to use that black just to really draw attention to the eyes when I do eventually bring on the lighter colours. And after I've blacked out the eyes, I want to come through with a khaki colour and just start painting in the horns. Now, I will be using the same colour for the teeth, but I'm going to hold back a little bit on that. I want to do a little bit of undercoating with a different shade compared to the horns on the teeth. So I'm just going to be painting in the horns around the model. And then with those base coated, you're pretty much done in terms of that first little bit of coverage. So now we're going to be coming in for the first round of highlights. So I'm going to take a bit of magenta, pure magenta, mix it in with the royal purple, and just start doing a nice slow layering up of the mouth ridges and the tongue. Going quite heavy with this, leaving only that little bit of sort of dark purple in the most recessed corners. And again, from the camera angle, I was not thinking ahead as to the shape of the model, and we're going to miss a lot of the actual painting. But trust that I'm being quite careful here to just get the tops of the ridges, and anywhere I miss, I'm going to come back in with that pure royal purple and just clean it up as I'm going along. Added benefit of that is it helps to smooth out a little bit of the transitions on the inside of the mouth. With the mouth highlighted up, I'm going to come through and start highlighting the horns. I'm taking just a pale khaki, so the original khaki colour mixed in with a little bit of a brain matter beige from the Army Painter, and I've mixed it up in a 50-50 ratio, and I've thinned it right down. So I'm going to be doing a lot of layers, just trying to build a bit of a transition along the horns. My intention is to come back through with a soft wash, so the transition doesn't need to be super smooth. But what it's going to allow me to do is bring everything down a step, as well as create a bit of a shadow with that soft tone where it meets the blue, making it a little less jarring when you transition from that rich blue onto the khaki white. For the inside of the mouth, I'm using a red tone wash from the Army Painter because I want to make it look a little bit more lively. And then for the rest of the model, I'm doing a thinned down purple tone. Again, just trying to add a little bit of richness into the shadows and staying within that sort of blue, reddy, green spectrum of colours. The purple and the green bits in the shadow will mix to make a richer brown rather than a straight green, which is something like the effect I'm going for.
Hey, just me. While you're here, if you haven't already, if you could like and subscribe, it makes a massive difference to us. And a massive thank you to Bite the Bullet Studios, and you can see their website and their Patreon link through here. And their miniatures, if you want to get a hold of one in New Zealand, Australia or the US, have a check at our website, thedistantveil.com, and we can ship one out to you.
Now I've let those washes really have a good bit of time to dry. It is one of the first mistakes that I've always made when I was painting with my minis, was not letting that wash fully cure and dry before coming in with more paint. Now I've lost a little bit of footage here, but what I've done after it dried, before I come in and start painting the mouth like I am now, was I mixed up a little bit of a green glaze, and I used that just to hit the underside of the stalks, just to reintroduce that same green tone that I had airbrushed on before. But what you're going to see me painting now is I've undercoated the teeth a dark brown, and I'm just coming in with that same pale blue that I used during the original airbrushing, just to start highlighting the scales along the top of the head and a little bit down the sides, some of the ridges near the mouth, and then coming with a bit of a sponge just to hit the stalks, adding a little bit of a texture and a little bit more interest, whilst at the same time making sure that the messiness is a little bit more intentional rather than attempting to create that same textured effect with a brush. With the highlighting on the blue pretty much finished, I didn't like how pale and washed out it made the beholder look, so what I've done here is I've mixed up a very thin glaze of the blue speed paint that I used to saturate the blue after airbrushing, and I've just used that almost like a wash to come through and just resaturate the more brighter, whiter highlighted points on the scales and the stalks. And while that's drying, I'm just going to come through now and start painting in the teeth with the khaki colour. Now I mixed that into a nice thin glaze. I'm going to be doing a lot of layering on these teeth, trying to get a nice smooth transition from a brown at the gums down to a almost pure white at the teeth. With the teeth having a nice transition from that brown down to a mid khaki, I'm going to come back through with the same pale khaki that I'd mixed up for the horns in the previous step, and I'm just going to be using that to layer up onto the tips again, mixed down into a nice thin glaze, so that we're not being too heavy-handed with the colour and just taking a time, taking maybe 3 to 4 passes along each of the horns and teeth, each time starting a little bit closer to the tip of either the horn or the tooth, just so we're building up that nice transition. And it's going to look a lot more stark when you see the actual model. Next thing here is going to be whiting out the eyes. So just going very carefully over where we've blacked the eyes. Try not to get any of the white on the eye stalk. And if you do get anything there, just coming through with a wet brush just to clean that up as quick as you can. It won't dry immediately, but the sooner you can get to it, the neater everything ends up being. I will be coming back through with some blue and some black just to clean up later on, but the neater I am now, the less I have to do later. Next step for the eyes is painting in the irises. Now, 2 benefits to this model by Bite the Bullet. 1, they have got very big eyes, making them relatively easy to paint. Second thing, they have sculpted the irises and the pupils onto the mini. So all we really need to do here is just paint by numbers, color in the raised areas. For this, I am keeping everything the same and just using a dark green, nice and thin over the raised areas, taking my time and doing it maybe 2 or 3 passes, just trying to build a nice solid base color that I will then be highlighting up to quite a pale green yellow later on. Right, next step, we're going to take a lighter green tone, so I'm using the Warboss green from Citadel. We're just going to mix that up into a relatively thin consistency, not quite a glaze, but just enough that if we're a bit messy, it's not going to make too big of a difference. And we're just going to use a nice, finely tipped brush to go through and just start painting in some striations on the eyes. Now, there are some sculpted striations on this mini just to give that eye a bit of texture. So all you really need to do is just very gently run the tip of the brush along those edges, and provided you use nice light pressure, it should come off your brush relatively smoothly and not spill over into too much of the rest of the area, rest of the model. I'm then going to mix in some Uriel Yellow from Citadel into the Warboss Green to brighten it up without losing the saturation. So by that I mean when you look at this from a distance, it's not going to read as pale green, it's going to read as a sort of a true green. And with the eyes finally finished up, we're going to take a green ink, thin it right down, and just run this across all the eyes. 1, to help hide a little bit of the mess I've made with the whiting, but 2, to give it a very faint green glow to match my planned sort of green magic glow effect on the base of the mini. And the final step on this is to take some pure white and just very gently paint it down through the pupil of the center eye, and then run that back over with the green ink to make it nice and bright, giving us the final intense look of the mini. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out again with me, watching along as I painted up that Beholder Mini from Bite the Bullet Miniatures. If you're interested in picking up one for your own, you can look at Bite the Bullet on my Mini Factory. Or if you're based out of New Zealand, a little bit closer maybe to Wanganui, you can hit us up at the Distant Vale on Etsy and order one that will print for you. If you want it painted as well, either similar to the one that I've done or maybe a different color, something a little bit more your flavor, let us know. I'm sure we can work something out for you. Once again, thank you very much guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.